The deep silence of space surrounded the U.S. Intrepid as it moved slowly through Saturn's rings. The only sounds inside the ship were the soft peeps of machines and the low voices of crew members at their stations. Commander Jack Nelson stood on the bridge with his hands behind his back. His blue eyes narrowed as he looked at the main screen. Something had appeared at the edge of Saturn's rings, a strange ship with a glowing hull unlike anything made by human hands. "What do we know about it?" Jack asked, keeping his voice calm despite the excitement he felt inside. Lieutenant Susan Miller looked up from her screen. "Nothing yet, sir. It just appeared there. No warning, no signal. Nothing in our records matches its design." Jack nodded slowly. After 10 years of searching the stars for other intelligent life, they finally had visitors. But instead of contacting Earth's leaders, these aliens had shown up near a military patrol ship. "All stations, yellow alert," Jack said. His words were firm but not rushed. "Use passive scans only. Don't do anything that might seem unfriendly." The bridge crew moved quickly to follow his orders. Lights dimmed slightly as the ship went to alert status. Jack felt proud of his team. They had trained for this moment, but no one really believed it would happen during their lifetime. "Sir," Susan said, her fingers moving quickly across her control panel. "They're scanning us." Chief Engineer Alan Boyd spoke up from his station. "This is strange, sir. Their scan is going right through our hull like it isn't even there. I've never seen anything like it." Jack felt a small chill run down his back. In one moment, these visitors had shown they could see through humanity's best defenses like they were made of glass. "Let them look," he said quietly. "Everyone stay calm. If they want to know what they're dealing with, that's fine. So do we." On the other side of the scan, the aliens were having a very different reaction. Fleet Commander Zith Kal of the Valhari scientific vessel, Eternal Seeker, stared at the results appearing on the curved screen. The commander's silver skin paled to almost white. "This cannot be correct," Zith Kal said. "Run the scan again." Science Officer Mril Ven moved her 6 long fingers across the floating control panel. The Valhari officer's large eyes blinked rapidly as new data appeared. "The results are the same, Commander," she said. Her musical voice had a trembling note in it. "The human ship uses simple fusion engines and has no quantum shields, but its weapons are far more advanced than they should be at this technology level," Zith Kal finished. "And these radiation readings." The Valhari had evolved on a peaceful world with very little natural radiation. Their bodies were tall and graceful, but physically fragile. They had developed technology to protect themselves from harsh environments. The scans showed that humans had evolved on a planet with radiation levels that would kill a Valhari in days. Even worse, the human ship was designed to keep working in radiation that would destroy Valhari systems completely. "They live in what should be a killing environment," Mril Ven whispered, "and they have built their ships to use it as a weapon." Zith Kal looked again at the image of the human warship. It seemed so primitive compared to the Eternal Seeker. Its hull was ugly and functional, not beautiful like Valhari designs. But the scans told a different story. This was a vessel built by a species that expected danger and was always ready to fight back. "Send a message to High Command," Zith Kal ordered. "We have encountered something unexpected." Back on the Intrepid, Jack Nelson had no idea that the simple patrol ship under his command had just filled an advanced alien civilization with dread. "Open a channel," he told his communications officer. "Let's welcome our new friends." For 3 days, the U.S. Intrepid and the Valhari ship Eternal Seeker kept their distance from each other. Both sides sent short, careful messages. The humans were excited but careful. The Valhari were polite but clearly worried. On the 4th day, a meeting was finally arranged. Commander Jack Nelson chose the ship's conference room for this historic moment. He stood at the door with Chief Science Officer Olivia Carter beside him. "Remember," Jack said quietly, "no sudden moves. We don't know how they might react." Olivia nodded. Her heart was beating fast. She had studied the stars all her life, hoping to find proof of alien life. Now she was about to meet them face to face. The door slid open. 3 Valkyrie entered the room. They were taller than humans, with slender bodies that seemed to glow from within. Each had 6 limbs, 2 legs, and 4 arms that moved with flowing grace. Their faces had large, jewel-like eyes that blinked in patterns. "Welcome to the U.S. Intrepid," Jack said with a small bow. "I am Commander Jack Nelson. This is our Chief Science Officer, Dr. Olivia Carter." The tallest Valkyrie stepped forward. Its skin shimmered with silver and blue lights. "I am Fleet Commander Zithkal," it said through a small device that hung around its neck. The translator made the musical Valkyrie language sound flat and mechanical. "We thank you for this meeting." They all sat down at the table. Jack noticed how carefully the aliens moved, as if they might break something by accident. "We have many questions," Zithkal said. The commander's large eyes kept moving around the room, taking in every detail. "Your ship, it confuses us." Jack looked at Olivia, then back at the aliens. "We're happy to explain anything you'd like to know." The second Valkyrie leaned forward. "I am Science Officer Mril Ven," she said. "Our scans show that your ship is built to survive conditions that would destroy most living beings. Why is this?" Jack blinked in surprise. The Intrepid was a standard patrol vessel, not even the most advanced ship in Earth's fleet. "We design all our ships with safety in mind," he explained. "Space is dangerous. We need to be prepared for problems." "Problems," Zithkal repeated slowly. "You mean attacks?" "Sometimes," Jack admitted, "but also natural dangers, solar flares, radiation bursts, micrometeorite impacts, equipment failures." The Valkyrie looked at each other. Their skin colors shifted slightly, showing their emotions. "Your species evolved on a world with high background radiation, did it not?" Mril Ven asked. Olivia nodded. "By your standards, yes. Earth has always had radiation from natural sources. Nothing dangerous to us, but I understand your species comes from a world with much less." "And your people." Zithkal seemed to struggle for words. "You have fought wars among yourselves, with weapons that release even more radiation." The room grew quiet. Jack knew this was a sensitive topic. "Our history includes conflicts, yes. We've learned from those mistakes." The third Valkyrie, who had been silent until now, spoke up. "I am Cultural Observer Trendok. We have studied the signals from your world. Your entertainment, your news, your histories. They are filled with stories of conflict and survival against harsh conditions." Jack wasn't sure how to respond. The alien wasn't wrong. Human stories often focused on overcoming challenges and enemies. "Our ship designs reflect our experiences," Olivia said carefully. "We prepare for the worst while hoping for the best. Is it different for your people?" Zithkal's skin rippled with colors. "Very different. Our ships are built for efficiency and harmony with space. We do not expect attacks. We do not build in multiple backup systems for combat situations. We do not harden our technology against radiation weapons." Jack suddenly understood. What seemed like basic safety measures to humans looked like paranoid war preparations to the Valkyrie. "I think we have much to learn from each other," Jack said with a smile. "Your ship is beautiful and far more advanced than ours. Perhaps we can share our different approaches." But he could see that the aliens were still troubled. To them, the Intrepid wasn't just a ship. It was proof that humans expected violence even among the stars. The news of the alien contact reached Earth quickly. Within hours of the first meeting, the United Earth government called an emergency session. Reports from the U.S. Intrepid were studied carefully by military leaders and scientists alike. On the bridge of the Intrepid, Jack received a message from Admiral Paul Harris. "The Valkyrie seem peaceful, but their reaction to our ship design concerns me," the Admiral said through the secure channel. "Keep the talks friendly, but don't share any military information. We need to know more about them first. Jack nodded. Yes, sir. So far they've been open about their technology, but they seem very nervous about ours. After the call ended, Jack found Olivia in the science lab. She was reviewing the scans they had taken of the Valhari ship. Their technology is amazing, she said without looking up. Their energy systems are at least a century beyond ours, but their hull would break apart if hit by even our smallest weapons. Jack frowned. They don't expect to be attacked. That's why they're so worried about us. We build ships ready for a fight, and they build ships assuming peace. It's more than that, Olivia replied. She pointed to her screen. Look at their life support systems. No backups. If the main system fails, they would all die. No human ship would ever be designed that way. Before Jack could respond, the ship's alert system activated. Lieutenant Susan Miller's voice came through the speakers. Commander Nelson to the bridge immediately. 3 new alien ships have just appeared. When Jack arrived on the bridge, he saw the new vessels on the main screen. They were larger than the Eternal Seeker, with smooth hulls that glowed with power. Are they warships? Jack asked. Susan nodded. Based on their energy readings, yes. They're positioning themselves between us and Earth. Jack felt his stomach tighten. This was exactly what they had trained for, but hoped would never happen. First contact turning into first conflict. Open a channel to Zithkal, he ordered. The alien commander's face appeared on the screen. Zithkal's skin had changed to a dark blue color. Commander Nelson, the alien said, I must apologize. Our high command is concerned about our findings. These ships have been sent to ensure our safety. Jack kept his voice calm. 3 warships seem like more than a safety measure. Fleet Commander, they could be seen as a threat. Just as your ship's design could be seen as a threat, Zithkal replied. Our leaders have reviewed our scans of your vessel. They are troubled by what they see as a warrior species approaching our territory. Jack shook his head. We've made no aggressive moves. We're a patrol ship, not an invasion force. Yet your ship is designed to continue fighting even after taking damage that would destroy our vessels, Zithkal said. Every system has backups. Every crew area can be sealed off from others. Your reactor is shielded to withstand attacks. Why design a ship this way unless you expect violence? Jack looked around at his crew. What seemed normal to them, basic safety features, looked like war preparations to the aliens. Fleet Commander, Jack said carefully, humans evolved on a harsh world. We learned to prepare for the worst while hoping for the best. Our ships reflect that thinking. It doesn't mean we want to fight you. On the screen, Zithkal seemed to consider this. Perhaps, but our leaders require proof of your peaceful intentions. They have authorized me to request permission to send a delegation to your planet Earth. We wish to understand your species better before proceeding with formal relations. Jack knew this was beyond his authority. I'll need to consult with my government. This is a big step. Of course, Zithkal replied. But understand that if permission is denied, we will have to consider your species a potential threat. After the communication ended, Jack turned to his officers. Well, that escalated quickly. Susan, get me Earth Command. Looks like we either invite them home for dinner, or we might be heading for a very bad first impression. In the silent depths of space, the human and Valhari ships faced each other like wary animals meeting for the first time, each unsure if the other was predator or prey. The next 2 days were filled with tense talks between Earth and the Valhari. Back on Earth, the United Government debated whether to allow the alien delegation to visit. Some leaders worried it might be a trick to learn Earth's defenses. Others saw it as a chance to prevent a war. On the U.S. Intrepid, Jack and his crew waited for orders. Lieutenant Bill Carter from Communications had been assigned to work with the Valhari science team. They were sharing basic information about their cultures while the governments talked. Bill sat in the ship's meeting room with Science Officer Mrelven. He showed her images of Earth on a large screen. These are our main cities, Bill explained. New York, London, Beijing. Lagos. Mrelven's skin rippled with green and blue colors as she studied the pictures. Your buildings are so solid, like fortresses. Bill looked at the images again. He had never thought of Earth's cities that way. They're just buildings, places where people live and work. On our worlds, structures flow with the environment. Mrelven said, they are not built to withstand attacks. Bill sighed. This kept happening. The Valhari sought everything humans made as designed for war. Not everything is about fighting, he said. Look at these. He showed pictures of parks, schools, and hospitals. Mrelven seemed interested. These are better, but tell me something, Lieutenant Carter. We found records about your nuclear submarines in your public data. Vessels designed to survive a global disaster and then launch more weapons. Why would any peaceful species build such things? Bill felt uncomfortable. How could he explain the Cold War to someone from a species that had never known large-scale conflict? That was a difficult time in our history, he said carefully. We don't think that way anymore. Mrelven's large eyes blinked rapidly. Yet you still build ships with the same philosophy, able to take damage and keep fighting, ready for the worst possible situations. Before Bill could answer, his communicator beeped. Carter here. Jack's voice came through. Meeting on the bridge in 5 minutes. Earth has made a decision. When Bill arrived on the bridge, the senior officers were already there. Jack stood at the center, his face serious. Earth has agreed to allow a small Valhari delegation to visit, Jack announced. But there's a condition. They want us to host the aliens here on the Intrepid first, and then escort them to Earth if everything goes well. Olivia frowned. They want the aliens to spend more time on a military vessel. Won't that make them more nervous? Jack nodded. It might. But Earth wants us to show them more about how we operate. They think if the Valhari understand why we build ships this way, they'll be less afraid. Security Chief Steve Wright spoke up. Or they might learn more about our defenses and decide we're too dangerous to deal with. That's a risk we have to take, Jack said. I've been ordered to give them a full tour of non-sensitive areas. Show them that our redundant systems and radiation hardening are about survival, not aggression. An hour later, Jack met with Zith Call to deliver Earth's response. Your delegation will be welcomed, Jack said. But we ask that you spend 3 days here on the Intrepid first, to learn more about our ways. Zithkal's skin darkened slightly. You wish us to remain on your warship. On our exploration and patrol vessel, Jack corrected gently. I believe there's been a misunderstanding about our intentions and designs. We want to show you that what you see as war preparations are actually safety measures for a species that evolved in a harsh environment. The alien commander was quiet for a moment. 3 of our scientists and 2 security personnel will join your vessel tomorrow. The warships will remain here. After the alien left, Olivia approached Jack. Do you think this will work? Jack looked at the stars visible through the viewport. It has to. Otherwise, humanity's first contact might also be our first interstellar war. On both ships, humans and aliens prepared for a meeting that would either bridge their differences or confirm their fears. The 5 Valhari visitors arrived on the U.S. Intrepid the next morning. They moved with careful, flowing motions as they stepped from their shuttle. Their skin colors shifted between soft blues and greens, showing their nervous feelings. Jack stood in the landing bay with Olivia and Steve. He stepped forward and gave a small bow. Welcome aboard the Intrepid, he said. We hope your stay will help both our peoples understand each other better. The lead Valhari was not Zithkal, but a new alien named Freldar, who served as a cultural expert. We thank you for this opportunity, Freldar said through the translator device. We approached this visit with open minds. Steve had arranged a careful security plan. Each Valhari would have a human guide, but they would also be watched at all times. The aliens didn't seem to mind this arrangement. In fact, they had brought their own recording devices to study the ship. Where would you like to begin your tour? Jack asked. Freldar's large eyes blinked. Your engine room, perhaps. We are curious about how you power this vessel. Jack nodded to Alan Boyd, the chief engineer. Alan will show you our propulsion systems, then perhaps medical, life support, and the crew areas. As the day went on, the Valhari visitors saw more of the ship. They asked many questions, especially about backup systems and emergency procedures. In the medical bay, they seemed surprised by the amount of equipment. You prepare for many types of injuries, said Trelniv, the Valhari medical expert, including radiation burns and vacuum exposure, even weapons wounds. Dr. Greg Patterson, the ship's doctor, nodded. Space is dangerous. And yes, we have to be ready if there's ever a fight. Is your medical bay different? Very, Trelniv said. We focus on comfort and healing known conditions. We have little experience with traumatic injuries. By evening, the aliens had seen much of the ship. Jack invited them to join the officers for dinner in the mess hall. This would be their first chance to see many humans in one place. When the Valhari entered the large room, the talking and laughter of off-duty crew members faded. Everyone turned to look at the tall, glowing aliens. For a moment, there was an awkward silence. Then Bill Carter called out, "Welcome to the worst food in the solar system." This broke the tension, and many crew members laughed. Freldar and the other Valhari seemed confused. "Your food is bad?" Freldar asked. Jack smiled. "It's a joke. Ship food is never as good as what we get at home." Another human tradition, complaining about military meals. The Valhari sat with the officers at a large table. They watched with interest as the humans ate and talked. Slowly, the aliens seemed to relax a little. "Your crew seems very comfortable here," Freldar noted, "even though you are far from your home, in a dangerous environment." "That's because we trust our ship and each other," Olivia explained. "Every person here knows their job. Every system on this ship has backups. We're prepared for problems, so we don't have to fear them." Freldar's skin rippled with thoughtful colors. "Perhaps that is what we missed in our first assessment. Your ship is not designed for war because you want to fight. It is designed to survive because you expect challenges." "Exactly," Jack said, feeling hopeful for the first time in days. "Humans prepare for the worst so we can face it without fear if it happens." Later that night, the Valhari met privately in their guest quarters. Freldar spoke quietly to the others. "These humans are strange. They expect disaster at any moment. Yet they laugh and joke. They build ships ready for battle, yet they speak of peace. I am not sure what to make of them." One of the Valhari security officers spoke up. "Their readiness makes them dangerous. Their ships may be less advanced than ours, but they would keep fighting long after our vessels would be destroyed." "Yes," Freldar agreed. "But the question our leaders must answer is this: are humans dangerous enemies or valuable allies?" Outside the ship, the stars continued their cold, distant watch over two species trying to understand each other despite their very different ways of seeing the universe. On the second day of the Valhari visit, Jack decided to show them something important. He led the alien delegation to a large room deep in the ship. Inside were rows of small pods, each big enough to hold one person. "These are our escape pods," Jack explained. "If the Intrepid is ever badly damaged, every crew member can get to one of these within 2 minutes. Each pod has enough air, water, and food for one person to survive for 10 days. Freldar moved closer to examine one of the pods. "You expect your ship to be destroyed." "We don't expect it," Jack said. "But we prepare for it. That's the human way." The Valhari cultural expert seemed troubled. "Do your ships fail so often that you need such measures?" Olivia stepped forward. "Actually, because we prepare so thoroughly, our ships rarely fail completely. But having these escape pods means our crews can focus on their jobs without fear. They know there's always a way out if things go wrong." The aliens discussed this among themselves in their musical language. Then Freldar turned back to Jack. "We would like to show you something as well. May we bring one of our devices aboard?" Jack checked with Steve, who nodded cautiously. As long as it passes our safety scans, yes. An hour later, the Valhari had set up a strange, glowing sphere in the conference room. When activated, it projected a three-dimensional image of a beautiful planet with 3 moons. "This is Valhar, our homeworld," Freldar said proudly. "For 50,000 years, our people have lived there in peace. We have never had a global war. Our cities are built for beauty and harmony, not defense." The image changed to show Valhari cities. They were indeed different from human structures, delicate towers that seemed to flow like water, buildings that looked more like giant plants than constructed objects. "Our history shaped us, just as yours shaped you," Freldar continued. "We evolved on a world with few natural disasters, low radiation, and plentiful resources. We had no need to build for survival against harsh conditions." Jack began to understand better. "So when you scan a human ship and see all our backup systems and safety measures, we see a species shaped by fear and conflict," Trelniv finished. "A species that expects the worst at every turn." "Not fear," Olivia corrected gently. "Preparation. We face our challenges by planning for them." At that moment, the ship's alert system activated. Red lights flashed, and a loud alarm sounded. "Bridge to Commander Nelson." Susan's voice came through the speakers. "We have a situation. One of the Valhari warships just detected a massive solar flare heading toward us. Impact in 15 minutes. Jack turned to the startled aliens. "Please return to your quarters. We need to reposition the ship to minimize exposure." As the Valhari hurried out, escorted by security officers, Jack and Olivia rushed to the bridge. The main screen showed the approaching solar storm, a huge wave of radiation, and charged particles from the sun. "Can the Valhari ships handle this?" Jack asked. Susan shook her head. "Based on our scans of their technology, probably." The solar flare hit the U.S. Intrepid with tremendous force. The ship shuddered as waves of radiation and charged particles washed over its reinforced hull. Inside, the lights flickered and several systems reported minor damage. On the bridge, Jack gripped his chair as the ship rocked. "Status report." Susan checked her screens. Shield holding at 60%. Hull integrity stable. Radiation levels rising, but within safe limits. Jack nodded. "And the Valhari ships?" "They're safe in our shadow," Olivia reported. "Their vessels are taking minimal radiation. Our hull is blocking most of the flare's energy." For 20 tense minutes, the Intrepid stood between the solar flare and the more fragile alien ships. Warning lights flashed across control panels as systems strained under the assault. But the ship held firm, just as it was designed to do. When the worst of the flare passed, Jack ordered damage teams to begin repairs. Then he checked on their Valhari guests. He found them in their quarters, looking shaken but unharmed. "Is everyone all right?" Jack asked. Freldar stepped forward. The alien's skin was pale with stress. "We are uninjured, thanks to your protection. Such a solar event would have severely damaged our vessels without your intervention. It's what any ship would do for another in danger," Jack said simply. "No, Commander," Freldar replied. "It is what a human ship would do. Our vessels could not have endured such punishment, even to save others. We lack the structural strength and redundant systems." An hour later, Zithkal requested permission to come aboard the Intrepid. Jack met the Valhari commander in the conference room. Zithkal's skin showed new colors, deep purple mixed with gold. 6 months passed after the first meeting between humans and the Valhari. What had begun with fear and misunderstanding had grown into something remarkable. The Valhari delegation's visit to Earth had been a success, and now representatives from both species met on a regular basis. Today was special. Jack stood in the observation deck of Earth's largest space station, watching as workers put the finishing touches on a new ship. It was unlike any vessel humans had built before, sleek and beautiful like Valhari designs, but with the strength and safety systems that humans had perfected. "The Unity," Jack said, reading the name painted on the hull. "First of her kind." Beside him stood Zithkal. The Valhari commander had become Earth's main contact with the alien civilization. Over the months, Jack had learned to read the colors of Zithkal's skin better. Today, the alien glowed with bright, happy colors. A fitting name, Zithkal said. Built by both our peoples, combining our different strengths. Olivia joined them, carrying data tablets. The test results are excellent. The Unity has the best features of both our technologies. Valhari efficiency with human durability. The door opened, and Admiral Paul Harris entered with several Earth officials and Valhari representatives. They had come for the ship's official dedication ceremony. Commander Nelson, the Admiral said with a smile. Ready for your new assignment? Jack nodded. The Unity would be his to command. The first joint human Valhari exploration vessel. Its crew would be mixed, with members from both species working together. We've come a long way in 6 months, the Admiral said, looking out at the new ship. From merely going to war to building ships together. One of the Valhari officials, High Counselor Jithven, spoke up. Our peoples are stronger together than apart. Your species brings resilience and adaptability. Ours brings efficiency and harmony. Together, we can face challenges neither could alone. After the ceremony, Jack and Zithkal walked through the nearly complete ship. Work crews from both species made final adjustments to systems. In some areas, the design was clearly Valhari, beautiful and elegant. In others, the practical human approach was evident. Redundant systems, emergency procedures, and safety measures. When we first scanned your Intrepid, Zithkal said quietly, we saw only danger. A ship built to survive combat, designed by what we assumed was a warrior race. Jack nodded. And when we saw your ships, we thought they were beautiful but impractical. Neither of us was entirely right. They reached the bridge of the new ship. Unlike the utilitarian design of the Intrepid, this bridge combined functionality with beauty. The control stations were arranged in a flowing pattern that still allowed for quick access to all systems. Our historians now believe our different paths were shaped by our worlds, Zithkal said. Your Earth with its natural disasters, radiation, and limited resources taught humans to prepare for challenges and overcome them. Our Valhar, with its stable climate and plenty, taught us to value harmony and efficiency. Jack looked at the bridge that represented the best of both approaches. And now we learned from each other. A young human engineer approached them with a Valhari technical expert. Commander, we've completed the power system integration. It's producing 30% more energy than predicted, with all safety parameters well within limits. Jack smiled. The first of many successful collaborations, I hope. Later, as the launch date for the Unity approached, Jack stood with his new crew, humans, and Valhari together. They would soon venture to parts of space neither species had explored before. We were almost enemies, Jack said to Zithkal as they reviewed the mission plans, all because we couldn't understand why our ships were so different. The Valhari commander's skin glowed with warm colors. Perhaps that is the greatest lesson from our meeting. Different does not mean wrong or dangerous. It simply means we have different gifts to share. As the Unity prepared for its maiden voyage, both humans and Valhari looked forward to a future brighter than either species could have achieved alone. What had begun with fear had transformed into hope, proof that understanding could overcome even the deepest misunderstandings. The ship that had once filled aliens with fear had led to a friendship that would change the stars forever.